Avengers. Of course, the legendary Avengers. Everyone knows them, except they're a little different in the comics. They first crash landed into comics back in 1963, cooked up by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby when a very bored Loki decided to cause chaos. Thor, Iron Man, Hulk all showed up to stop him like an impromptu potluck where everyone brought weapons instead of food. Not only that, instead of Black Widow and Hawkeye like in the movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp also joined in. And these are not Scott and Hope, they're actually Hank and Janet. Then Captain America slid in soon after Avengers number 4 because what's an all-star lineup without the guy who literally punches fascists for breakfast? Their early days were a highlight reel of cosmic drama. Issue number 1, they straight up ruined Loki's chessboard plan to use Earth as his personal playground. By issue number 8, they're already trading hands with Kang the Conqueror, a time-traveling mastermind who treats centuries like Spotify playlists. Unlike the MCU version, this Kang doesn't disappear into thin air and gets his movie renamed. Then Ultron arrives, sneaking a cameo in issue number 54 and fully stepping out in number 55. Basically, Marvel's first AI nightmare, long before your phone started finishing your sentences. The wild part is how the team keeps launching sub-teams like West Coast Avengers and New Avengers, which of course have different purposes and roster. From Wakandan King Black Panther to Thanos' nemesis Adam Warlock, heroes drop in and out faster than trading TikTok audios. Basically, whoever your favorite hero is, they might have been part of the Avengers at some point. On top of that, they're Marvel's go-to defense squad when a single hero just won't cut it. Bigger threats, big egos, bigger explosions, and somehow they still find time to argue over whose it is to buy the shawarma. X-Men. Basically a boarding school when the homework is don't accidentally level the city. They debuted in 1963 when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby introduced Professor Charles Xavier's class of Teen Mutants. Cyclops with laser eyes, Jean Grey rocking psychic vibes, Iceman who's basically a walking snow cone machine, Beast before the blue fur glow up, and Angel being angelic. Their first field trip, stopping Magneto, one of the best villains of all time by the way, from declaring mutants the new rulers of Earth. So yeah, way more intense than detention. From the jump, the team's whole deal is surviving a world that fears them while trying not to fry it in return. Early issues throw them at the Sentinels, giant mutant hunting robots built by humans who I guess skipped the "don't create killer machines" memo. These are not as scary as the ones you see in the movies though. These clashes set the stage for decades of humans vs. mutants drama, with each generation of X-Men picking up the fight like it's a cursed family heirloom. What makes it even worse is the constant roster chaos. Students graduate, villains swap sides, new mutants roll in from every continent like it's a global talent show. Out of that came legendary arcs. The cosmic heartbreak of the Dark Phoenix saga, which ends in Jean Grey blowing herself up with the Phoenix, the time loop chaos of all the favorite days of future past, and a steady stream of moral debates. On top of that, they stay a found family. A messy, inspiring crew proving that being different is the real superpower, even when the world keeps hitting the panic button. Fantastic Four. What happens when a space road trip goes sideways and everyone forgets sunscreen? You get the Fantastic Four, Marvel's very first superhero squad. They launched in 1961 thanks to Stan Lee and Jack Kirby after brainy Reed Richards convinced his crew, Sue Storm, her hot-headed brother Johnny, and pilot Ben Grimm, to ride a rocket straight into a cosmic storm. Instead of vacation photos, they came back with stretchy limbs, invisible tricks, fire powers, and a giant orange rock body. They all got a cool name like Mr. Fantastic and Human Torch except for Ben's, who's called The Thing. Personally, if I was Ben, I wouldn't let that slide. From day one, the action was huge. Their debut issue throws them against Mole Man, the king of underground drama who can control underground monsters. By the way, I love this cover. If you're a comic fan, you know how iconic this is. A few issues later, in Fantastic Four number 5, they meet Dr. Doom, a mass genius with a PhD in grudge holding who basically becomes Reed's permanent headache. The stakes keep climbing until the legendary Galactus trilogy kicks off in issue number 48, bringing the Silver Surfer and a planet-sized appetite for destruction. That single storyline turns family adventure into cosmic survival. Every Marvel writer since has circled back to it. And not gonna lie, the MCU Fantastic Four movie has done a great job portraying Galactus after disasters from the previous ones. What I think makes this team very unique is the constant balance of saving worlds while arguing like siblings over dinner. On top of that, their mix of science experiments and messy love stories set the blueprint for Marvel's cosmic playground. They're still the blueprint for turning family drama into something literally universe-sized. Defenders. Ever wonder what happened when Marvel's biggest loners accidentally form a superhero team? You got the Defenders. They first pop up in Marvel feature number 1 back in 1971 when Doctor Strange, Namor the Submariner, and the Hulk basically stumble into the same crisis and decide teamwork is cheaper than therapy. Silver Surfer, Valkyrie, eventually crash the party too because why not add a shiny space surfer and a sword-swinging warrior into the chaos? Their origin story kicks off with cosmic-tinged headache involving the villain Yandroth, basically an alien scientist who happens to be really good at sorcery, which sets the vibe: mystic messes, strange dimensions, and fights that feel like a fever dream. The big crossover flex arrives in the Avengers Defenders War, a wild run spread across Avengers number 116 to 118 and Defenders number 9 to number 11. It's one of those rare moments where two squads of heroes throw hands over clashing philosophies while the universe patiently waits for them to chill. What I find interesting about the Defenders, though, is the non-team attitude. There's no clubhouse, no paycheck, not even a group calendar. People join, bail, and reappear whenever the mood strikes, which is somehow the most relatable part. On top of that, their stories lean into the weird magical riffs, cosmic puzzles, and villains who look like your sleep paralysis demon. They fought Dormammu, Zenmu, Mephisto, and even Satan himself. The Defenders may be Marvel's strangest crew, but that unpredictability is exactly why they stay legendary. Guardians of the Galaxy. Did you know James Gunn's Guardians team looked nothing like the original one? Name first pops up way back in Marvel Superheroes number 18 with a 31st century lineup. Vance Astro in full astronaut drip, blue-skinned Yondu before the Mohawk upgrade, Powerhouse Charlie 27, and crystal-bodied Martinex. Their debut mission? Smacking down the alien Badoon, while trying not to break the timeline. Fast forward to the 2000s and the brand gets a glow-up during the cosmic crossover events Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest. Out of that chaos comes the modern squad everyone knows from the movies: Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket, and Groot. These bad boys have thrown hands with threats so big even the Avengers would stay home. This includes Phalanx, Annihilus, and even the Mad Titan Thanos himself. One minute it's a prison break, the next it's saving whole star systems. Still basically Tuesday for them. What I love most about the Guardians of the Galaxy is their team chemistry, which is equal parts therapy session and roast battle. Arguments over snacks happen right alongside firefights with cosmic warlords. On top of that, their stories jump between heists, interstellar politics, and full-blown space opera. Whether it's the retro originals or the chaotic modern crew, the Guardians turn the galaxy into their own loud, lovable mixtape of explosions and, of course, a couple of bad decisions. X-Force. What if the X-Men decided the best way to stop bad guys was to hit first and ask awkward questions never? That's basically X-Force. They kick off in 1991 with X-Force number 1, Born with the New Mutants. Outgrew classroom drama and Cable showing up looking like every 90s action figure rolled into one. Cable takes command with a vibe that screams time-traveling dad with too many guns, and their squad follows his lead into a more aggressive brand of mutant heroics. Their first outings are all ambushes, hostage rescues, and explosive showdowns with Strife, which is basically a clone of Cable himself, and anti-mutant paramilitary groups of, like, the Freedom Force. And this made it clear to me that their tone is all about covert ops, moral gray zones, and a lot of big weapons drawn in bigger shoulder pads. What makes it even worse is the constant tightrope walk between hero and vigilante. They're supposed to protect mutant kind, but their methods could fill a year's worth of government hearings. and they might need Jayoma to come in as their lawyer for that. On top of that, their roster is a revolving door of sharp personalities. Domino's cool precision, Warpath's powerhouse strikes, Deadpool's chaotic commentary, each adding more chaos to an already messy mission. X-Force didn't just add firepower to the X-World, they turned Mutant Black Ops into a full-on lifestyle, making the X-Men look like they're still stuck in study hall. Inhumans. This is what I like to call a royal family where family game night could level a city. And seriously, they first step into the spotlight in Fantastic Four number 45, introducing a lineup that's pure power fantasy with a side of family drama. Black Bolt leads a voice so destructive he stays silent, Medusa wields living hair like an extra set of fists, and the rest, Karnak, Gorgon, Triton, and Crystal, bring their own wild upgrades. Their constant headache? Black Bolt's brother, Maximus the Mad, who shows up 2 issues later in Fantastic Four number 47, and never stops plotting to steal the throne, cause he's just always mad, I guess. It's in the name. And in meddling human governments and the Kree, which is the alien race that experimented on their ancestors, and Italian, the place they live, is basically a non-stop political powder keg. What makes it even worse is the rite of passage, which is called the Terrigenesis. When teens step into this mysterious mist called the Terrigen Mist, they hope to get cool powers like the rest of the Inhumans, but sometimes they end up turning into living coral. You can actually see here the effect from this thing. It can be really bad. What's crazy to me is that the drama only grows from there. In the 2007 miniseries Silent War, Quicksilver swipes the sacred Terrigen crystals, sparking Black Bolt's brutal counterattack and Gorgon's capture. 2 years later, in War of Kings, Black Bolt levels up to Cosmic Emperor, trading blows with the Shi'ar Empire, which is an intergalactic empire who gets stronger by marrying other cultures. It's wild. On top of that, every coup, alliance, and power surge keeps the Inhumans at the messy crossroads of monarchy and mayhem, where silence can literally be deadly. So yeah, if you're looking for possibly the most problematic royal family ever, you just found it. Thunderbolts. This team that you've seen in the MCU might be good, but the comic version is actually more interesting. These guys sneak into Marvel history with the tease in Incredible Hulk number 449 before exploding into their own Thunderbolts number 1, where a shiny new group of heroes steps up to fill the Avengers-shaped hole after a cosmic disaster. Fans were hyped. Right up until the final page twist showed their leader, Citizen 5, was actually Baron Helmut Zemo, and the rest were just Masters of Evil in fresh costumes. I bet after that, those fans were having trust issues like Scissors after getting outplayed by disguised Toast. The founding lineup, Zemo, Fixer, Moonstone, Mach 1, Songbird, and Atlas, comes loaded with backstabbing potential. Every mission is half rescue operation, half secret villain meetup, and the double lives don't stay secret for long. Early clashes with other heroes and government agencies erupt the moment anyone figures out these saviors have rap sheets longer than a CVS receipt. What makes it even worse is how the team keeps evolving. Sometimes they're schemers, sometimes reluctant good guys, sometimes full-on government tools. During the Dark Reign era, Norman Osborn rebrands the squad into his own strike force, folding them into his Dark Avengers circus and adding heavy hitters like Bullseye and a symbiote-powered Venom. On top of that, every new roster shuffle brings more betrayals, accidental redemption arcs, and enough drama to power a whole season of prestige TV. Probably the most chaotic team yet. Runaways. Ever wonder what would happen if your parents' big secret wasn't a second Netflix account but an actual supervillain cult? That's the hook of Runaways, the team bombshell that kicked off in Runaways number 1 back in 2003, and also personally one of my favorite teams in all of Marvel. 6 kids: Alex, who's basically the smart four-eye, Nico, the team's goth baddie, Carolina, the glowing church girl, Chase, the typical jock, Gert, the SJW, and the little powerhouse Molly stumble into a late-night meeting and catch their folks mid-ritual sacrifice of a group of ancient giants called a Gibborim. And I guess from there, family dinner is officially ruined. The first arc, Pride and Joy, has everything, including a stolen frog-shaped getaway vehicle, desperate escapes through Los Angeles, and the slow horror of realizing the people who raised you are actually plotting world domination. Their parents, known as the Pride, juggle PTA vibes with full-on supercrime, making every confrontation both heartbreaking and terrifying. Along the way, they conveniently find out they had superpowers, which is great, especially for Gert, who can control an actual dinosaur named Old Lace. That's actually a cheat code because you got powers, bodyguard, pet, and best friend in one big reptile. However, the guys are dealing with endless trust issues. The kids have powers and gadgets, but they also have to wonder if one of their own might flip, because the leader himself, Alex, actually betrayed them, fueling a whole therapy session for everyone. On top of that, later volumes toss in new curveballs like Victor and Mancha in Runaways Volume 2, Number 1, and seemingly normal teens who turn out to be Ultron's sleeper creation. The Runaways keep bouncing between heists, occult chaos, and awkward crushes, which can be relatable, but the Team Rebellion hits different when your parents are literally supervillains. Eternals. Ever wondered what would happen if you could live forever? Well, just look at the Eternals. Jack Kirby launched them in the Eternals number 1 back in 1976, dropping a squad of near-immortal Homo Immortalis such as Icarus, Makari, Athena, and many others on Earth as a science project of the Celestials. They're gorgeous, absurdly powerful, and forever stuck babysitting humanity, while their creators judge the planet like cosmic landlords doing surprise inspections. Of course, perfection needs drama, so enter the Deviants. They're chaotic counterparts who share the same celestial origin, but pull the genetic short straw. Crow, the deviant warlord who also debuts in issue number 1, is what I like to call the ultimate frenemy. He's a shapeshifter and schemer and occasional almost lover of Athena, which makes every battlefield feel like a messy ex meetup. You can actually see them here kissing each other. Their centuries of grudges keep Earth's hidden history packed with ambushes and awkward reunions. What's very interesting to me is the memory problem. Modern stories like Neil Gaiman and John Romita Jr.'s 2006 miniseries reveal the Eternals can't forget who they are. So you've got literal gods work at day jobs at coffee shops until someone jogs their cosmic memory. On top of that, every time the Celestials swing by to Great Earth, the Eternals have to decide whether to step in, stay neutral, or just survive the judgment. Eternal life, endless responsibilities, zero chill. Alpha Flight. What do you get when a government decides its best defense is a squad of superheroes in flannel country? Meet Alpha Flight, Canada's very own answer to the Avengers, but with extra maple syrup. They first pop up chasing Wolverine in the Uncanny X-Men number 120 back in 1979, then grab their own spotlight with Alpha Flight number 1 in 1983. Department H, a shadowy branch of the Canadian government, pulls the strings, while team leader James Hudson, also known as Guardian or Vindicator, depending on the day, tries to keep everyone on mission and out of polite Canadian scandal. The roster is pure northern chaos. Twins Northstar and Aurora zip through the air faster than a winter wind. Sasquatch is exactly what the name promises. Shaman taps into ancient spirits. Puck flips around like a circus legend. Snowbird channels Arctic gods. And Marina brings the aquatic bite. Their first solo issues drop them straight into mythical trouble with Tundra, one of the monstrous great beasts, and then into political nightmare courtesy of the immortal schemer called the Master of the World. What makes it even more chaotic is the constant tug of war between national loyalty and personal freedom. On top of that, corrupt politicians and rival teams like Omega Flight keep crashing the party. In the end, Alpha Flight is the exact reason why superhero drama works just fine with snowstorms, legends, and a government memo waiting to ruin everything. Heroes for hire. Need a superhero but your wallet isn't Avengers level? Call Heroes for Hire, which I think is the closest thing Marvel has to an Uber for punching bad guys. The gig starts with Luke Cage back in 1972's Luke Cage Hero for Hire number 1, where he basically launches the idea that crime fighting can pay the rent. A few years later, the brand locks in when Cage teams up with Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, in Power Man and Iron Fist number 54 in 1978. That single issue turns their casual partnership into an official small business, paperwork and all. Their enemies are straight out of a crime movie playlist. Cage wrestles Harlem mobsters like Willis Diamondback Striker, the same Diamondback who debuts alongside him. Iron Fist drags in martial arts assassins and mystical ninjas like Master Khan because, of course, he does. On top of that, every time the team tries to stay simple, someone new signs on like Misty Knight with her cyber arm, Colleen Wing slicing through chaos. Even a demigod like Hercules drop by when rent money runs low. The gig economy vibe keeps evolving. The late 90s Heroes for Hire series recast the group as a full merc squad, while the 2010 relaunch after Shadowland treats them like a superhero temp agency. What I think is coolest about all this is that these heroes don't wait for a world-ending threat. They just show up when the neighborhood calls and the check clears. Probably the most convenient team in all of Marvel, I'd say. Well, that's it for this one. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop. Craving more stories from comics, movies, and beyond? Check out this video right here. Cheers and see you in the next one.